I try to think this course that give it the people a little bit of extra. Like I'm teaching you this, but if you think, oh, why he's teaching me this here and here, it's because maybe you are going to need that in the future, and I want to give you at least a taste of, so you don't feel, like completely insecure when you are going to join that.
I am delighted to welcome our next guest and brand new Learn Squared instructor, Antonio Esparza. Antonio teaches our freshly released course, 3D Character Art. And in this episode, we discuss what you'll learn in the course and about Antonio's career, from taking Learn Squared courses early on to working on projects like Destiny 2, Magic the Gathering, the Huxley saga, connecting with the brilliant Sava Zivkovic, to the genesis of his own studio and the art of collaboration. So, get those notebooks ready for Antonio's tips and wisdom on being a creative badass and a reliable artist. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Learn Squared podcast, and delighted to welcome one very special guest today and a brand new Learn Squared instructor, Antonio Esparza. Welcome, Antonio.
Hello, Adam. Thanks to let me be here.
Cool,
It's
man.
like a
Yeah.
drink. It's like a drink
Oh,
for a learner.
Happy to make some of that come true. But I guess one of the coolest things is that you'll be making other people's dreams come true now as a new Learn Squared instructor. How does that feel?
Amazing and weird at the same moment. Because I basically started to focus in what I wanted to do in this industry because of Learn Squared.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm here being an instructor. Being and showing the people what I do and how they can try to make something similar. So it's amazing, but at the same time, it's like, wow, what
Yeah.
happened, in the last years.
We'll get to the course. Actually, yeah, we'll get to the course very, very soon, which is 3D character art. If anyone's familiar with your work, they'll see why that is the course. But for people who are completely fresh to this, probably the first thing they've ever listened to and seen on YouTube is this. Would you mind to giving everyone a lowdown as to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. So I work as senior lead character artist, depends on the project and the company, and normally works as doing creatures most of the time, but also a lot of humanoid characters, like soldiers and that kind of thing. And I normally work for cinematic companies, or cinematic motion graphic companies, something like that. And working in a lot of super cool projects like Diablo, Warhammer, Destiny 2, League of Legends. But I also worked a lot on kind of CG things for presentation, like for example for the European Space Agency. I worked for building and designing all the spacesuits and all that kind of thing, to show in Vienna and all that kind of thing. So I had also those kind of projects on my side. And basically I do that, is build the character. And for a few, 1 year and a half ago, I created a super small boutique company to do all the process from the design to the rigging. So so the company get the asset ready, to make things more easy between the contractor and the artist.
Amazing. And you mentioned there, was it a lead character artist or a lead artist?
Lead character artist, not
Just
lead
explain
artist.
that for us. Explain that for us. What does that mean?
So if I work as senior, at least on my side, because different companies, different countries, different politics around it, everything works a little bit different. But normally a senior is someone that is in charge of more complex asset, or at least they have more, control over what they are doing. They just receive feedback. The lead is the one who are in charge of all these seniors and all these mid or juniors, or basically is taking all the team and put everything together for the client, of course.
Cool. What kind of knowledge do you need to be in that role?
In that role,
Yeah.
time management, time management. That's the key here, and also know how to put everybody in common. I think that's one of the most important things, like, because every one of us is comes from one side, and it's difficult to have the same style, or you know end everything at the same level. So I think those two are the more important parts.
And
What I think, yeah.
did you see this as your career path? Did you always want to do something like this?
No, I'm really, on the half of the path.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
right now in a moment where I'm learning a lot about how to manage people and how to put a little bit of myself into these projects. But I really want to move forward and jump into art direction or something like that, to maybe put more my ideas on the plate, and try to create something with that. So yeah, my plan will be maybe to create something on my own, maybe a game, maybe a film, that kind of things.
So that's like a personal IP type thing.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in mind? I'm sure you got some stuff cooking, or is it
Yeah, yeah, of
still?
course. Of course we
Yeah.
have.
Okay.
Of course we have films, we have shorts, we have a game,
Sick.
with all these people that I always normally work. So I have something with Sava Zivkovic and something with Lucas Alamon. So we are trying little by little, because the work takes a lot of hours, and for us more that we are freelancer. But trying to push everything, trying to push what few things that we already have done, and try to get investors and all that kind of thing.
Nice. It sounds like a lot of work, but they can tell us a bit of excitement. Well, a fair bit of excitement that you're trying to keep control as well. Why do something that seems like it sounds like a big, big headache and a lot of things to do and a lot of moving parts?
Oh, explain me the question. Sorry, because
Sure. No. Yeah. So why take on something that sounds like a
okay,
big
okay,
deal
okay.
and a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
headache?
Because I love it. Because I want to, see how far I can go. I think that's the best
Sick.
response. See how far I can go with something that is, of course, done with my friends, done with people. I Even if I freelancer and I'm, in this garage, I love to work and connect with people, but normally don't have the opportunity. But maybe it's a scream to try to get some kind of office to put people working together or something like that. Maybe it's something between how far I want to go and
Yeah.
try to connect more with people.
Awesome. I love that. I love the people thing. I've got a similar scenario to yourself. Like mine's basically stuck at this desk and always speaking through this thing or headphones or whatever and a screen. Apart from events, you rarely get to meet people in person. And that's something personally that I've always, in other jobs I've had the privilege of. It's just, yeah, I'm sure I'll let you expand on it a little bit more, but just being able to work with the same collaborators, but in the same physical space.
Yeah,
Why do you think that's important?
because we are, social animals, and we really need that connection at some point. Maybe not all the time. I'm completely fine and happy to work from home, but not all of us want that, every day in our life or all the time in the month, you know. So maybe I like to work from home, yeah, but the person next to you wants to have a 50-50, and the other one wants to be every day there.
Yes.
because their style of life. So, for example, I would love to have a 50-50,
Yes.
But of course, if I going to create a company, make a game or a film or something like that, I will have to be 100% there, trying
Yeah.
to help everybody and do also my work. But I'm one of the most things for me when I working with people is try to get everybody comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
uh, working hard but
Mm-hmm.
comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that you do because it's a strategy that you've discovered, or is part of your philosophy? If that makes sense.
No, it's part of my philosophy.
Nice.
No, it's I I'm a little bit of I'm how to say this. So I knew it a lot of people these last 5 years that um the sensation is that they want to. This is a game. We are playing, I don't know, League of Legends. Maybe no. This is a work, but the work can be done in a proper way. More or less. You know, so a balanced
Yes.
life
Yes.
with your
Yes.
work. But you have to work.
Yes.
That's the thing.
I love that. I love that topic, and I think there is um when it works well, it's amazing, right? Like obviously, end of the day, no matter what privileges and perks you put on the job or whatever, the job is the job, the work is the work, and
And the money is the
normally,
money, and the money is the
yeah, that's
money.
true.
I don't.
Yes, yes,
You know.
and normally enjoyment and job and work normally never any job description you never see. Yeah, apply to this job because you'll enjoy it, kind of thing. If it is, it's like superficial. But it is possible to have both. Um, yeah, let's talk about like I guess work ethic and things like that. Like,
Hmm.
why is that important to have that kind of balance?
Because if not, what we have, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if not what we have here, 10 hours in
Yes.
front of a screen, and just
Yes.
that's all. So it's difficult to work 8 hours in something that is not yours. You are not part of it, and go back to home and work on something that makes you happy or whatever. So yeah, it's super complex to have these 8 hours of happiness, and everybody is, wow, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't do that, but at least you can try to make the people be part of it in some kind of way. In There are different levels for that, and I think when someone realizes that it's part of the project, you are part of this, you know, you are getting some task, but you are also, giving something of you to the project.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you are earning good money. You are not, over saturated with work, but and you don't, you you can afford a normal life. If you try to put a couple of things of that together, normally people respond. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
normally. But it's true that depends a lot in where you are, and I'm not talking about in what part of the world, what company, what part are you as a professional.
Mm-hmm. And
So
do you find that like again team building? It's a very fascinating topic. If anyone's never looked into it, I'd highly recommend looking into it, whichever way you want to, because it sounds very boring and plain, and maybe it
mm,
is. But when you look into it and the intricacies and the techniques and how crazy it can be, how awesome it can be, and the results gained, it's fascinating.
mm.
Um, do you find that you look for certain traits, or
Look
are you
for what?
able to work with anybody? Like when you're building a team,
Yeah.
do the members of the team need to be have like a certain calibration that only you can work with, or is it a little bit different where anybody can be anything and almost you adapt to them? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So normally, certain skills are needed. That's that's a must. But if I find someone that want to want to give something more or want to approach something more, because normally I work with the same team, so I know them, pretty good. I know how far I can push this one, how what this where
Yes.
where where the task end for this and when I start for the other one. But is is more to me trying to figure out how to adapt to them instead of them adapt to me.
Mm. And is that something that you've let yourself like develop that skill naturally, or have you trained for it and
No,
studied it?
it's naturally
Nice.
with a lot of bad jobs, different approaches to something, friendship lost, workers that are not, happy with the result of everything, or uh, also I'm a Spaniard, I come from Europe, so I can get super high. So I cannot. I didn't get that much call for companies from other parts of the globe where
Right.
the money is a little bit more, so you can get to a point in terms of money, but you can go further because if you're losing money right now,
Yes.
you know, and also uh, we also have another limitations here in Spain because of how our taxes and contractor thing is built. So at the end, I prefer to pay the people as freelancer because they earn more money, you know. And I'm
What
not
was your? Oh,
attached,
sorry.
and I'm not
Yeah.
attached. So yeah, something like that.
Awesome. What was your? How long has your career been until you started your own venture?
I think it was like 8 years ago I started with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I started studying 8 years ago in a small school in my city town Murcia, and I studied like this kind of multi-course of coding, animation, concept, everything. That
Yeah.
was like focusing more like an indie. So you create
Yes.
an indie game and all that kind of thing. Mm, and it was 3 years, so I really finished that 5, 6 years ago. But in the second year is when I discovered Learn Square,
Mm-hmm.
and I discovered Anthony Jones, the Anthony Jones first course on Learn Square,
Yeah.
something like that. And
And
then
yeah.
from that is where I decided to, yeah, I'm going to get the notes on the course for my parents. They have the numbers that I
Yes.
approve everything, and I have some title, something like that. Uh, but I really started, you know, when I was more older than all my partners there, because everybody was like 18, 19, 20, and I was like
Uh-huh.
26, 27.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was like maybe also that gave me more, more complexity to be focused
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of thing.
What was your before you took the Learn Squared courses? What was your kind of like creative focus at that time? Like, did you have a creative identity? Like, did you know what subject matter you or skill set you wanted to develop at the time?
I wanted to go concept
Mm-hmm.
artist, like, yeah, designing characters. And I remember that I was like focusing create like the bad guys, like enemies and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
And at some point, on our station, I someone appears. It was Soren Zaragoza, and I see like, yo, what is this Cerberus thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to look at the curse of Murcia. Like, oh, I have a Cerberus thing here. So from there it was like, okay, I don't want to be more just concept artist. I want to, school this, see this moving, because I love what a concept artist do, but I can make my theme move, to give some personality, or give it an extra to it. So that was the decision. Like, okay, I want to make characters and see, how far I can go with this.
Amazing. And that's it. From that moment on, it's been down that path.
Yeah, that's 6 years ago. It was like, yeah, characters, characters, characters.
Nice. And obviously, it's I guess I already know the answer, but have you even gotten bored of that? Have you ever tried to? You kind of obviously answered it a little bit with the kind of different things you're trying to develop now. But have you ever kind of felt like you're on the wrong path since then, or has it always felt like this is definitely me, and I'm just
No,
gonna
no,
even
no,
go
no, no,
faster
no.
down this path?
Of course, I thought like, hey, I'm not good enough. My skills on the design are not good enough. I mean, I don't think they are good enough right now. Uh, I always felt like I was something in the middle. And probably a lot of us had that feeling that I'm in the middle of 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 nowhere for some kind of reason. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you? So I exactly the same. I always think
Mm,
like no matter every time I do like I don't know what is it like a check in. Okay, let's like when you growing up you measure and put a mark on the door or something, and then you
mm,
basically stop when you don't grow anymore. Every time I measure myself, I feel like I haven't grown. Obviously, I have. I look back, but even though I'm leveling up, I still feel like I've never leveled up. So my
yeah.
question to you is, I totally get you when you say that, but have you ever felt like, okay, no, I have improved? Or is that a constant feeling for you as well?
No, there was certain moments. There were certain moments where I found myself like, yo, you get it. Like,
Yeah,
you are here. You did this, or you did this other. I remember it was with the Freight short film
sick.
that was like, yo, you are here working with Milan and Sava Zivkovic.
Mm-hmm.
that was the dream for me. I was pretty fan of Milan's work, and I wanted to be Milan. I wanted to be Milan.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and that moment was like, yo, you can be part of this, some kind of way, of these Serbian crazy awesome guys, not the kind of thing. At that moment, I remember when I was, starting doing the model, like, hey, maybe this can be an opportunity to continue working with them and all that kind of thing.
Mm.
And it was so super happy with that. And the other thing that I remember, I think it was with Access. When I worked the first time with Axis, that also was a milestone for me, like a moment when I feel it in some kind complete. Like, hey,
Yes.
I'm working for cinematics, doing crazy challenges that I also know because I played Diablo 2 when I was young. So it was kind of the perfect moment.
Amazing. When you mentioned earlier on about collaboration and your philosophy
Mm,
around it, a few names jumped in my head. One of them was obviously Sava and his
mm,
team. And obviously he's friend of Learn Squared and been on the podcast as well. And that's always been a big deal. Like I've always take my big key takeaway from him, obviously apart from the epic badass awesomeness and skill level, is his philosophy with like nurturing and working and collaborating with a team. And there's something genuine about like clearly what he says and what he does. It's like it matches. It's not like, well, how can I explain it? Like just marketing talk, right? Like he practices what he
yeah.
preaches, kind of thing.
No, it's not a
Um, uh,
marketing talk. It's not a
no,
marketing
exactly.
talk.
Yes, exactly. And obviously, I know you've worked with them as well, and you mentioned there like that's something that you wanted to do. How did the opportunity come about?
It was from the Milan course, basically, because we talked at this, because that moment we were, collaborators, but now we are friends. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I talk with Sava basically every day or every week.
Mm-hmm.
So that moment was like, yo, we need some production artists. Hey, look at this guy that understand what I want to do, but also know how to model, and how
Yes.
to do all this part that we need. Basically, it was that, was simple as that. Saba
Nice.
sent me a message on Facebook, and I was like, hey, we need we need you. We need you to do something, and I was like, yeah, let's go. Was
Nice.
simple as that.
And how many things have you worked on with him since?
Um,
Sorry, no, actually, what was that project that he wanted you to work on? Was that
that
Freights?
was Frey. That was Frey.
Nice, nice.
And then we worked on Huxley. We worked on beckoning. A couple, two or three more things that are small things that are out there, or things that are in the middle right now of get ready to be done.
Sure.
And also, I always help him with something, or he helped me with something. So yeah, that from that moment, and it's always like that. So you need someone, you get someone. It's true that mm, it's more easy when you are at some kind of level. So you have some kind of portfolio and you
Mm-hmm.
demonstrate your abilities, because it's just that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what good at you are. No, it's do you know how to make the word? Yes. Okay. That's all. But it's true that all of that start to move. So, for example, when I finished with Freight, Milan um, proposed me to a work on China, and I started to work with this company on China. From that, I know the people from Axis. You are the guy who worked with Sava. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's come in and do something. So they didn't do anything. So Milan was like, you need a charter artist. I have one. But with Saba was nothing. It was, you are the guy who worked with Saba, so you know, let's give you an opportunity.
Sick.
Yeah,
And I think that's like one of the better, most wholesome stories, is because it's like it's organic, right? And it was just simple.
super organic, super
Yeah.
organic,
Yes.
super organic. That's the thing. A lot of people comes and ask me like, hey, how I can do this. Like, it's super organic. So, and don't mean that you need to go to all these super crazy events to know
Mm-hmm.
someone, because it's like, for example, how to say, I want to work with Raf Grassetti, for example. It's not that easy that I go see a Raf Grassetti on an event and say, hey, Raf, I want to work with you. So that's
Mm-hmm.
completely unnatural. It's, I don't know, you approach the style, you approach mm, the work, you approach the project where they are working, and maybe in that moment, some kind of role appear and you can apply to it, and you can find that connection in some kind of way. And I put you as, a stupid example, of a big name, and normal people like us. So is you it's not natural. It's unnatural if you go another way.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to tell this to the people, that if you can reach those people that inspire you or something like that, why you don't try to notice yourself? you
Mm-hmm.
know so why you don't try to get you to be the soul of that collaboration? Why you don't try to find some people around you and try to create something more bigger than what you are going to do by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a collaborative industry. We are working everybody with each other. No, I'm doing book covers. Okay, you maybe not, but you can do design, and you can do you can design things. So try to collaborate with people and try to get something more bigger of where are you going to be if you are doing this by yourself. Is you are You, for example, are a beginner and you are taking my course and you want to go further and making animation, all that. Don't try to reach an animator with 15 years of experience in the industry. Try to get someone that is studying with you, like you, and try to make something and learn together, because all of this is that is people together creating art and making connection. That thing.
Sick. That's perfectly put. And I think it's quite telling as well. Like it's easy to forget, and obviously, like you said, like an artist experience is very very like solitary. Our portfolio is individual. Everything's like my whatever it is, right? It's like you do the work, you do this. But yeah, 1,000,000%, every aspect of any job, no matter how isolated you are, is a collaborative endeavor. Even if it's just you, there's most like an audience involved. That's probably like the most direct, simplest collaboration. But nevertheless, I guarantee that even if there is somebody who's like, I'll just make what I want to make and the audience is there, soon as an extra entity comes in, it automatically changes the way you work and maybe influence things versus if you just completely did it yourself. So yeah, no, that's true. Like it's easy to forget that there's others involved in different capacities, and maybe sometimes those are if you're maybe experiencing friction or some kind of difficulty or whatever, it's most likely a lack of acknowledgement of the collaborative process in that regard. So also I think it's quite telling as well, like focusing on what you can do as opposed to chasing and let that like the work come to you in that way, right? So, but have you had any experiences where it's not been organic and you've either had success or it's not successful?
No, I didn't. I never been in that situation because no, I had people that try to reach me to, because it's that if Saba calls me tomorrow, Antonio, I want you something, I'm going to do it, but now because he's my friend. But I have almost every week someone telling me, hey, can you do me a character? For at some point, and I'm good with it. I seems like the character artist for all the other ones projects. So Ben Mauro have Huxley. Okay, I'm going to do the character. Sava have a
Yes.
project. I'm going to do the character. So, someone comes and makes I'm going to do the characters. At some point I
Yes.
find myself helping all these guys
Mm-hmm.
with all of that. But at least also we are in different moments of the life. So maybe when I was 8 years ago, I lived with my parents, so I was okay to work for free. But now, no, man.
Yeah.
now I need money to eat.
That's true, man. That's true. What's it like? And is it? I guess it's not like necessarily difficult or anything like that. But what's it like working and trying to realize someone else's vision as a character artist? Like, what kind of traits or skills are important to be able to do that successfully?
Um, be your, treating yourself, if you are a character artist, treating yourself as a translator, not as an artist. So there are two different ways of work as a character artist. Is when you are part of the design team and you put things on it, you resolve problems and all that kind of thing, and the other part is where you are just a translator. Normally, it's super difficult to get a good translator. That's the thing that I see a lot of in this in certain projects or something like that. Like, yeah, you did a good job. There's a really nice character going on, but miss something about the
Mm-hmm.
artist, and it's not. And I'm talking about more personal approaches. Okay, I'm not talking about triple A IP. That's work, and you have to do your work. But the moment when the project is more personal, there's a director, there's a super iconic thing going on behind. You need to be a good translator, because that involves a lot more things. So it's a matter to try to understand the concept artists, or the artists that are um, before you, and try to get that thing the best way possible done, basically.
Translation is probably, that's the most excellent way to explain it, and a great way to basically explain what skills you're going to gain in your course. I mean, when you're taking, say, a concept that maybe you have done or you're taking from somebody else, it literally is translating that from that entity into something else. And if you look at like translation, and you speak multiple languages, and as you know, like it's never like a one-to-one translation. Like certain things mean that you can only understand it in that language. So how do you make it make sense, even though there's no direct translation? And I guess that's where the skill comes into it. And one thing, obviously, I learned looking at the course as well is that's like embedded throughout. Like, of course, it looks amazing, it's badass, all these amazing things you want to see in a character, but every step of the way, there's always these little anecdotes, these little messages of like, the reason why we're doing this is essentially to aid a pipeline or to not have issues coming back to you, which maybe come about. So let's talk about the course. 3D character art. Give us a lowdown as the course is currently. It's 5 lessons. I believe there may or may not be some bonus stuff coming. 6, yes.
Yeah, 6 and bonus coming, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. So what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we learning in the course?
So in the course, you are going to be, moving with 3 paths. So it's more like a beginner path, and other 2 ones that are, or you create your own design and make that on 3D, or you follow the pure pipeline of a character artist, which is the one if you are searching for work. If you're searching for work, trying to get that one. So basically, it's the full completely. I think I didn't miss anything of what a character artist do is to take something on 2D, or in this case, is a 3D concept, and make it full 3D ready for implementation in Unreal. And these learning paths, are built to that. If you're a beginner, you never touch ZBrush, and I want to try something new and all that kind of thing, that's amazing. You can follow all the videos, and I explain a lot of it. I also try to get all this approach of the designs of design approaches on with rules of design or silhouette and all that kind of thing. Putting aside that all of this is things that I learned from Anthony Jones' course like 8 years ago. That was important for me, and that's something that I am applying in my characters every moment. Uh, and also all the technical process. But I also wanted, we thought about make also more enjoyable. So there are maybe people that just want to make something super cool and use it in their concepts, or make some cool animation, but they don't want to get affected by all this technical part that a company is going to ask you. Also, some kind of ways of do this more automatically to get to I was going to say the happy moment when you are painting everything, putting texture, putting colors, and all that kind of thing. So yeah. But basically, it's that, all the full pipeline of a character in different ways of do it, and is what I'm using right now. Is what I use it in, for example, this project with Sava Zivkovic. So it's that.
And obviously, there's a lot of tools involved in this. What are these your actual go-to tools?
Yeah. But I want to mention that, for example, maybe not a lot of people get to on Maya or 3D Max, but if someone is complaining about all of that, they can do all of that on Blender. It's like I'm using 3D Max. It's like some companies, people are like, "Oh, why you're doing 3D Max? Are you from 10 years ago?" And it's like, I learned it with 3D Max and I feel comfortable with 3D
Yeah,
Max,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I use that one. But nowadays, almost everybody in a big company is using Maya or
Mm-hmm.
Cinema 4D.
Mm.
So you can use Cinema, you can use Blender, you can use whatever you want. But it's true that if you are going to school, you need ZBrush. And if you are going to Texture, it's true that now you can do it with Marmoset, but I suggest you to use Substance because,
Mm-hmm.
it's what I use. But all what I use is easy to translate into whatever
Yes.
software. I'm not doing anything that is just attached to a software, Is I'm painting, I'm using masks, I'm sculpting. So if you want to sculpt on 3D code and move to Sustan, you are going to be able to do it. Nobody's going to tell you anything.
Uh-huh.
I put the tools that nowadays are using on a project.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
No, I think that definitely will show, and it does show in the course. Like certain things you're doing, I already knew that, oh yes, I know what he's doing here, and I can do it in, say, in Blender, for example, or whatever it might be, or the alternative. Um, is it right in saying that because this is the tools that you want to use, it's okay for someone else to be like, well, this is my tool set, and you can still tackle it the same way as long as you follow I guess the
Yeah,
goals and the
the
fundamentals, right?
principle. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No matter, no matter. It's like, for example, we are right now in that moment where all the painter textures are, the mass thing, with Arcane and all these kind of projects that are happening right now. So you don't need Sustan to do that. You may can
Mm-hmm.
paint it even in Photoshop if you want. You can go to Blender and paint that, you know.
Yeah.
So you don't need the Sustan painter, but you can get some knowledge about that on the videos, about
Yeah.
how to implement, how to intercept things, how to create some kind of materials to blend between other, you know. So
Yeah.
is the tools are there because there is what the companies are using right now, and I thought that
Uh-huh.
was important
Mm-hmm.
to at least have what companies are asking for or what most of the companies are using right now. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody's completely free to use whatever they want.
Mm. And touching upon that, like what companies are using, I guess first, it's probably best to ask the character that you're making. Um, to what level of project is it for? Because I guess you can use it for any level, but like, what? Let's say it was a live project. Where is it going to end up?
This will be that kind of short film project, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because there's more liberty, more freedom in the technical aspect. You have more amount of things, you don't have to be that much optimized because you want to have all that detail on the front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be more like that. And I also suggest to do that in a portfolio piece. How to do low poly, uh, you know, thinking about pure literature artists, don't just thinking about that. You know how to make low poly. Okay, you are good enough doing low poly or not good enough, no matter. You know how to do it. That's the problem for your future and for the company to tell you how to do that in what they want, how they want to do that low poly. But here you learn how to do it. That's enough for a portfolio piece. You can do it super correctly, super properly. That have a value in a portfolio
Mm-hmm.
piece. But if you don't want to do it, don't want to put this kind of wireframes super cool, that for a character artist normally is like it's like a feeling of a sensation of happiness when you see a pure correct topology.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to go on that because you just want to do a cool character for your portfolio piece, this is the best choice. Is the
Uh-huh.
best scenario is to get attached to the workflow but have freedom in the capacities of the engine and the capacities of the substance and all that kind of things.
Yeah.
You can show all what you have.
Yes.
Not be limited, but inside the workflow.
Yes. You mentioned there, like these are the tools that companies are mainly looking for, or that level of production. Why? do they want those tools? Is it because it's like a legacy thing? That's all they've been used to, or are there
No,
specific things about them?
no, it's specific. For example, um, let's going to talk about games or games, cinematics, and all that kind of thing. So because I'm not going to jump into films, so everybody is going to use substance, because
Mm-hmm.
for example, it's true that maybe Marmoset have a better baking option, but the tool that now is established is substance. Maybe Marmoset with the new tools, is a game change. But for now, it's Sustan Binder what it has and have everything ready to export it, to implement it, have connection with the other softwares, and all that kind of thing. And regarding, for example, Maya have all what you need. It's a blender in steroids, basically. For and I'm not saying that Blender is not a good software. I'm saying just that everything is established in terms of renderers and all that kind of thing in Maya. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I do the optimization on Maya and the UVs on Maya, but most of my last projects are rendered in Cinema.
Mm-hmm.
But Cinema is using Redshift or Arnold, and I have all of that inside Maya. You know, so I can use Maya even if the final result is on Cinema 4D. So instead of try to jump in more softwares, like go to Maya, that is a base one right now, and all that kind of thing. If
Mm-hmm.
if you are a Blender user and want to start to getting into, you can get the Maya controls, get into Blender, and try to
Mm-hmm.
work with Blender on that. But it's mostly the companies are using that.
Mm-hmm.
Normally they are not going to put you anything in terms of modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you want to model in Blender? Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
It's working at the end. It's working no matter what. But in certain parts of the workflow, you need to get to a certain point. It's like you can use Unity, you can use Unreal, uh, and normally those two are the ones that you are going to learn by yourself. If
Mm-hmm.
you are getting other company, they maybe have their own engine or have a version of this engine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you really can get to Unity and Unreal. So why you
Mm-hmm.
are going to choose? I don't know, whatever other engine
Yeah.
aside of those two.
And um, in your role, like, do you think it's responsible or even wise to explore as many tools as possible, purely to anticipate being able to adapt to what a company might need?
Mm, it's true that depends on where you are. If you are in a company, if you already have a job, that's more simple because you are surrounded by people or projects that are evolving. Meanwhile, the industry is evolving. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are starting, if you are a freelancer, or you want to jump as a freelancer, so that problem is yours. So you have to be in the moment and try to get things how everything is working, how everything is changing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a you know year to 1 year change. So it's 5, 10 years change. So I don't suggest the people to be afraid about any of that.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's a good point. Like, with your attitude to software and tools in general, obviously you mentioned, like, that it's linked to based on your experiences, some preferences as
Of
well.
course, it's based on my experience and my
Yes.
preference. But
Mm,
but I'm not that Blender hater or something like that.
sure.
That's a lot of people I see. Blender. I use Blender for make renders and make concept art and all that kind of thing. But I feel more comfortable modeling in 3D Max.
Yes.
Just that. Just that.
Yeah. Now, when I started learning, was at uni, many, many, many years ago. My first introduction to 3D, partly 3D, was Maya, and I use Blender now, but my brain is still geared in Maya, like Maya's UI, and yeah, the muscle memory I don't think is ever going to delete itself. Like, maybe it's traumatized me to the point where I can't forget it, or positively so as well. But
Mm.
no, I totally hear you. I just, like, I guess you personally, like, do you find that like you get lost in discovering tools? Because like, I guess like you can, as you mentioned like almost everything, like from Unity to Unreal to all the 3D packages as well. Is there like a pitfall in that, like trying to get lost in softwares, or do you think it's healthy to perhaps just try it all?
Don't think that is a good option to try to get in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that's a good option if you are committed to to. Well, it depends, of course, in your situation. You have plenty of time, of course, then go to it. For example, if I had more time, I was like to get into Houdini. Why? I don't know why, but I wanted to, to put you an excuse to learn how to make hair on on Houdini, but not
Mm-hmm.
for that, because all the magic that appears on Houdini. But I suggest if you don't have a job, try to get on the things right now, and you will try to have time later to focus in other parts.
Mm-hmm. And in the course, obviously, you start from rough sculpt to detailing it to organizing it to then texturing it and then making it look sexy and presentable as well. Do you have a favorite part to the process, or do you love it all?
Texturing for
Nice.
me always is the texturing. I'm not that sculptor guy. I like when everything starts to merge together and comes to the textures. I don't know why. It's like
Nice.
I feel more secure in the textures
Uh,
than in other part. Like for some reason. I don't know. And I
is that
have to
because
school,
it's like, yeah,
the school is more of the time.
yeah.
But I don't know, the texture maybe it's because, all this complexity part just happen, and you get to like to a bad moment when everything comes together and starts looking super cool, and that is just that
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's just that situation why I prefer the texturing part. But most of my friends prefer the sculptor pass.
Yes. No, yeah, I guess like when I'm designing something, it yeah, before I get any color into it or things like makes it look feasible, I
Mm.
do get that thing of like, is this even working? Like, does it? This is going to be a joke. And then when you put some color on it, I guess the way my brain works, it just okay, yeah, now that makes sense, or this doesn't make sense, and it's like kind of piecing it together.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, yeah, with the course as well, you cover substance, and I use substance as well. But then after watching how you use it, I'm definitely using it in the wrong way, like very hacky, very like um I'm just getting the results, but there's way
Yeah.
more power that I can extract, like with the materials and the masks and all that kind of stuff as well. Like where you do it, I do try right there, and then there's like so much more left. So thanks for that knowledge. That's amazing. You also present it and light it and everything and render it in Unreal. Um, why Unreal?
Mm, because at least for me, I learned it. I started with Unity, doing 2D games and all that kind
Uh-huh.
of thing, and I lost the interest on Unity as a presentation tool. I was using Marmoset. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was Marmoset the engine to present everything, and
Mm-hmm.
I have also a video of showing how to present the character in Marmoset because it's the easy for for see something is the easy way to get is software that is affordable, is easy. You have your trials, you have your things, and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Unreal is free, and it's what a lot of games and companies are using.
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to make shorts with Unreal. It's a basic understanding of how the game engines in games works. So I thought it was the best solution, the best
Mm-hmm.
decision to everybody, because they are going to. I try to think this course that give it the people a little bit of extra. Like I'm teaching you this, but if you think, oh, why he's teaching me this here and here, it's because maybe you are going to need that in the future, and I want to give
Yes.
you at least a taste of so you don't feel, like completely insecure when you are going to join that,
Mm-hmm. Speaking in security, when I first glanced upon the course and looked at what you designed and built, and I was like, wow, this is like so detailed and so complex. I was like, how long is it gonna take me, even with the learning, to like kind of to get to a level? But I really like the way that, yes, it's very detailed, a lot of layers, a lot of, like, let's say, density in the design and the layers and everything. But the way it's approached is very straightforward, very easy to follow. It's like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. And before you know it, there's all this quote unquote detail. I know detail is like a very passive word that you can throw away almost negatively. But yeah, like just simple steps, and then all of a sudden you've got this nice, amazing thing that looks complex, looks detailed, but makes sense not only visually but also how you got there as well. How did you develop that skill to know how to do things in a nice and simple way that also makes sense?
with a lot of try and test.
Mm-hmm.
I had moments a few years ago of I was here every day, every weekend. It was a new project,
Mm-hmm.
something to test, something to that. And also what I mentioned, all the collaborative projects. I'm going to start something with Lucas. Lucas, I want to make something super crazy because blah 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 blah. Okay, let's try, let's test it, blah blah. So you learn there a lot of things, even if don't comes to a result, you learn it a lot. So that's why at the end, uh, at least in the course, since that is, pretty more or less easy to understand
Mm-hmm.
how everything moves and how everything flows. It cost me, of course, more than what we are looking at the course, because I recorded everything and all that kind of thing. But it's also that I had moments when, this is not working. I prefer to go in other direction, so I recorded everything again,
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of thing. So even if I'm working, and all that kind of thing, I also have my moments of, yo, this is not working in any
Mm-hmm.
way. I'm going to repeat it again and doing again. So if this is a moment to say that, don't get a struggle if you are not getting to the point, because I had to do it 70 times,
Mm-hmm.
and I also struggling with that. So
Mm-hmm.
don't don't get crazy with the timing and all that kind of thing.
And obviously, with the courses on the three levels, starting from complete beginners all the way to those that are advanced, even just like you said, just want to go in there and just almost in their own particular workflow, adapt it to their own. What would you say, with that said, though, students need to have or should have before they take the course?
Mm. Difficult to tell you. I mean, if at least some kind of art skill, you're a painter, you have the skills to sculpt. Just not just, or you didn't try it, or nobody told you how to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a sculptor, you have everything. Uh, mm, if you want to learn more of character design, or how to approach, or how the people around you are, taking care of all this aspect, and you want just to learn a little bit more, you don't need anything, because I think I explain everything, since how to change a material in ZBrush, or to how to render an animation in Unreal, So of course, I think it's interest on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that with my course, you are not going to be able to. I'm not going to teach you how to use ZBrush in all the possibilities of ZBrush, but I'm going to teach how to open ZBrush, how to use ZBrush, how to sculpt on ZBrush, how to cut this, cut there, merge. That is really what you need to do on ZBrush, but in all the course that I saw, is everybody needs to explain every ZBrush. I use 6 brushes on ZBrush, and that's all, because you don't
Mm-hmm.
need anything more. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a must. On me, it's like I'm using 6 brushes and then alphas to make things look more this material or the other material, or this style or this other style. You don't need more. You don't think people really need more to learn this kind of tools, and that's what I wanted to do it like this. You don't need nothing more than that to do a completely character. And start to grow yourself as an artist, or try something new.
One of the amazing things about working at Learn Squared and just seeing students like yourself back in the day when they take a course and just you see their own voice developing as well is how they interpret a course and just make amazing things. Personally though, from your own biases and maybe your own preferences, what would you like to see students take away from the course or see them do after taking the course?
I want to see what they do out of my character. I really want to see if someone make or something by themselves, or create a really nice translation. But I also, it's weird, but because also would to see the interpretation of my passes, in the character. Will be super interesting to see how people approach that.
Sick. Now I want to go back to your new venture, your studio.
Yeah.
What's the origin story with that? Like, when did that begin? What's it called? And yeah, well,
the name that we have that I have right now, is a one person studio right now. So I'm trying to rearrange contracts, companies, meet people and all that kind of thing, because it's not that easy. It's true that it's not that easy of like we see on podcasts or films or whatever. It's not that easy. It's super complex to make something, and I'm trying to look for that contract that help me proceed to create a team, build a full team, and try to get that team all together. But right now I'm working I'm working with this normally the same freelancers all the time, so I get some work, and I get then some work aside. So, or I get a contract, and hey, I have the company and work with these guys. We can do all of this, so we are going to try to do that. The company is called We Make Monsters.
Nice.
Because we normally do monsters, so yeah, haha, is simple. And here in Spain, it's not that simple. Nobody know. All people don't talk English, and when you're going to make your taxes, it's like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
But for all of that, is simple. What you do. We make monsters. And we
Nice.
always like to make monsters. And it's a sort in a studio, but I always try to get more like complex characters. Like more. Not going to say principal, but more principal NPCs or principal enemies, something like that. Like something in between, something that is in between the what the people in the company is doing and what the old source studio is doing. So something in between,
And
something like that. We are trying.
so I guess like it's a mixture of like providing to clients and companies and to vendors, but also you mentioned making your own thing as well. How are you gonna manage both of that? Do you have a plan, or is it pure intent right now?
I think the plan is to, if we get the opportunity to have some investment, we are going to throw all the jobs and we are going to go full with the try. Of course, I'm trying to get some works right now,
Sure.
to save some money for that moment, but also looking for investors and all that kind of thing to try to at least pay properly the people, because it's just that. This is not to make money or whatever. This is for pay the people, and pay in a properly way. And that's the most afraid thing, that hey, people to do this, and I want to be able to pay properly and get everything done, you know. But yeah,
And
probably we are going to put everything and jump into try as much as we can.
so I think that's quite cool that you already know that you want to do that before like it's you even faced with that decision. Because sometimes when you reach like a crossroads situation, that's the only time people, you know, think and then make a choice. But it's almost like even before you've reached the crossroads, you already know which way you're gonna go.
If someone, I don't, if someone gave me the opportunity, I'm not going to take it, man. Of course, I'm going to take it.
That's true.
Of course,
That's true.
you know that it's easy to decide. You are struggling with something, yeah, but Joe, it's an opportunity to do your thing. So you know, I prefer to right now be safer with my decisions, with my money decisions, but to be ready for that moment.
Sick. How long have you been waiting for that moment?
2 years and
Like
a
when,
half,
is that when you got the idea to start the company?
even earlier.
Nice.
I told you there's a few roads open.
Sure.
There are different roads open, so that's why I tell you 2 years and a half, something like that.
Wicked. Final question before we head off. Firstly, yeah, definitely keep an eye on that and see what you cook up. Purely based on just your energy and your passion behind it. Normally, when you see that, very rare. I guess I'm not an expert, but very rarely do you see it fall apart based on because of that. So normally only good things come about. Speaking of good things, what things have inspired you over the years? Like I forgot to ask you, I guess things that formed you, things that kind of like influenced you to the point where you wouldn't be who you are today without them.
So I'm going to say one of the things was my, but I wanted to become one of these big artists of the industry, or not want to be one of them, be part of these big projects or these big things and all that kind of thing. That was the first thing. The second thing was to finding myself there, what I really want to do. And the last thing was to, hey, what can I apport to this? What can I do by myself, or what what kind of things I can create and be part of this? Can I make the people feel what I felt when I was looking to other projects or other personal projects? Can I make the people feel that, hey, Joe, this is cool, this is amazing, inspired to people to make art, basically.
Sick, sick, love it. Tonio, it's time to wrap up. Everybody sign up for the course. If you're listening to this when this airs, it's still available on pre-order, which gives you a massive 50% off. Yep. As we head off, Tonio, any final words or thoughts from yourself?
Nothing special, try to keep working, everything has the time, and I hope I meet all of you at some point in some places.
Sick. Tonio, thanks so much, man. That was awesome.
Thanks so much to you, Aaron.
Hit the links to sign up for 3D character art today. And if you're listening to this when it airs, then you'll get access to a massive 50% off thanks to our Black Friday sale. A big thanks to Antonio for an incredible conversation,